Welcome to The Big Reset, Marketing and Business Edition, a podcast for entrepreneurs, forward thinkers, and marketing junkies embracing new world business strategies and zigging when others zag. Host Scott Harkey is president and CEO of OH Partners, one of the largest and most decorated creative agencies in the Southwest, which has helped open the door for him to sit down with an array of high-octane guests and personalities, all with credible stories to tell and valuable insights to share. As the advertising and marketing industry continue heading towards new world shifts, align yourself with true leaders in the space and make the Big Reset a weekly habit as you stay one step ahead of the masses in your journey to self-educate, learn, and grow your personal and professional brand.
Welcome. I'm freaking super excited because I'm at one of my favorite places in the world with one of my favorite people in the world. We're in Flagstaff, Arizona. We're going live tonight. I mean, sort of live. Yeah. We're at Pine Canyon Country Club. And I'm with my doggy, one of my all-time doggies tonight. And we don't know where we're going to go with this, but we're going to have a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And what Alex and I were talking about, we talked about a couple things earlier. We wanted to talk about like what a sense of community is. And we also want to talk like as entrepreneurs or as business people, like there's shit you don't learn in school. And we're like, and there's other like dumb stuff that you learn about like business, so like how to make connections or like how to do certain things that like you would never learn in school. And so we're sitting here, we're at a golf tournament, we're at Patrick Peterson's golf tournament, and it's a real low key group of like maybe 20 people. And we were talking about like how many great people we've met, like playing golf.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. And it's funny going back and you take a couple steps back and you talk about the first time I experienced golf and like the conversations I had with people about golf, especially on my football team. I literally used to fight people and be like, golfers aren't athletes. That was the first battle, right?
For sure.
We're golfers, athletes. And then I started to figure out like the networking side of golfing. Yeah. And then I was all in after that. Like once I saw, the entry into new circles, the being able to be cultured, like you can be with, an entrepreneur that's 25 years old, or you can go with like a 75-year-old guy that's built 3 businesses and sold 3 businesses. And it's like such a cool dynamic. And that's really when I fell in love with it as a guy who loves relationships, learning new people, meeting new people. And I really think it's really something that if there could be something like a curriculum around it, like it should be a class.
But you know what they talk about, like, diversity, like, and I think golf, like in some ways, like sometimes you get paired up with people you would never spend 5 hours with.
Absolutely. And
all of a sudden you're with a guy that's like, or a girl like that you would never hang 5 hours with, and you're hanging with for 5 hours, right? And like, what are you going to talk about? Like, and it's kind of intimidating, like it's kind of weird, but like,
and the dynamics of it are very similar to like when you're trying to break the ice with someone at a business function,
100%.
Where it's like the first 2 holes, you're trying to feel them out. You're trying to see what kind of people they are. Do they take the game really seriously? Yeah. Do they take it pretty loosely? Do they like music on? You know what I mean? Like those are all things you pay attention to and you learn from.
You play golf with someone for 5 hours.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, I like that person, or I want to do business with that person or not. Like, and that's why I think as relationship people, like I love golf because it's a way to like find out if someone's like my vibe or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and there's times like where I wasn't
pre-screen.
Kinda.
It's that pre-screen.
I mean, you're stuck with someone for 4.5 hours, and it's frustrating. It's a hard game, and it's a humbling game. The other thing that came up,
that you bring up a great point. We have to mention that it's a humbling game.
It's so hard.
So you really learn a lot about people and the way they handle adversity
100%.
On the golf course, right? Like if they can't handle not hitting a par 3 green, like, could they handle a business transaction?
Throwing their club or throwing a temper
like,
tantrum.
That's what you really like. Or do they take themselves, they self-deprecating, like joke around about their game?
100%.
I think those are all great like aspects of people that you want to deal with on the community side, on the business side. And that really comes from like understanding people during a round of golf, which is big.
And I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but one thing for me that I think that you and I have talked about and almost bonded over a little bit is like, it's kind of intimidating. Like when I first started playing golf, like I was a baseball guy, you're a football guy.
You didn't want to, let's just put it out there. He didn't want to put his true handicap out here this weekend.
No, for sure. No, for sure. Because
he said they're going to make fun of me. I was like, dude, that's why they created the handicap.
Well, but like, I think even deeper than that. Okay. Like, let's go deeper for just like a second because, I think a lot of times like there's intimidating things that we get into and it's like we feel insecure about something, right? Like for me, maybe I feel insecure about my handicap or this or that, or like, I'm with professional athletes and I'm a JUCO player or whatever. Like, but like, I think something about golf to like humble yourself. And I know Patrick's talked about this too, about like not knowing certain etiquette of the game or like feeling like in a weird spot. Like, you've gone to like that restaurant and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can be here. Right. And like,
is this the salad fork or the main meal course?
Yeah. But people that power through that, and then like, I don't know, I think the game's changing a little bit too. Like
it's a great time for an inclusive golf world. Like it's from streetwear coming into the golf scene to, golf courses being more open to the type of people they see. Like, and it's a perfect time for people that haven't taken it up to take it up. And I strongly suggest to take it up because it can help you on so many levels.
It helps you business totally, right? It's a business deal.
You don't have to be an entrepreneur to love golf. Like, ultimately, like, if you want to understand people and you want to understand the growth of people and, like, the type of people you're surrounding yourself with, which could really be implemented into anything you do beyond business, like, you can learn a lot about people on the golf course.
I mean, like, I'm not even a great golfer.
And just traveling and being able to see a lot of things.
That's the thing for me. I have met so many people golfing, and I've closed so many deals golfing. And because I think in business, it's a 3 to 5 year relationship game. And people want to people want to typically go slam somebody on a deal right away.
Right.
And that's not how it works. It's like people need to trust you. And I think golf is kind of like one of those things, especially as we get older. It's just like an athletic event that we can hang with people, get to know them. And then over a long course of time, then all of a sudden like deals start to happen with these people.
I think the best part about golf is coming into it. Even though it could be in a business environment, a fundraiser, a celebrity event, a trip like this, Patrick's event, you don't come into it wanting to get something from it. So that's kind of a really kind of like
everyone's guards
like
down.
Organic. It's an organic way. Everyone comes here trying to do one thing, which is dominate a game that is harder than any game there is, right? And so when you come in, you're actually kind of at everyone's on the same level. Whether you own $1 billion business, you're an all-pro, or you're a guy that's just starting a business or learning the game, everyone's literally trying to master this game, which is so incredibly hard. And so I think that's like the world's best icebreaker.
Totally.
And so it makes sense. So when you come into it, whether it's you have a goal in mind, whether it's to build a relationship, sustain a relationship, start a relationship, I think golf is a great conduit to that. And people just need to see it as that, as opposed to like the block of like, oh, goofy shorts, stuffy
But
clubs.
that's over. I mean, like I'll look at tonight. Like it's just funny. Like you have an all-pro, cornerback, 2 of them. And then all of a sudden you have this like this 60-year-old like doctor, like white-haired like country club doctor, right? And I'm like looking around like,
and shout out to Pine Canyon because they take care of us.
Unbelievable. Pine Canyon is
unbelievable. The things that they do here.
I fell in love with this place. This is like my, like a Zen kind of place.
Absolutely.
Like you're in the mountains, but like no, seriously. So I'm looking around. I was like, okay, like I'm playing this, a great guy too. There's like 6-year-old doc, Pine Canyon member, and then like we have like Pro Bowl NFL players, and it's a level playing field. Like we're all playing the same game.
Everyone's trying to achieve the same thing, dude. It's the hardest thing.
It's pretty cool. Okay, so I, on this podcast, Playing with Fire, what I wanted to do was like reach back out to like my 25-year-old self, like, or my 20-year-old self. Like, what would you tell like young Alex, like who's getting in the game? Because you're a hustler like me, and you built a great business. A little background on Alex. Alex has built an amazing sports agency and represents some of the greatest athletes, in Major League Baseball, NFL, golf, and it's cool to see what you've built with your business. But I think you have that hustler mentality like me. Like, what would you tell your younger Alex, like what you've learned today versus, back when you started in the game?
I mean, keep your mindset limitless, right? Like, don't limit yourself to like the avenues that you can fit into. Like, if I only try to fit myself in an athletic box, then that's the type of return I'm going to get. Like, from a very like early stage in this business, like I thought in my mind, I can fit into any table. I can sit at any table, where it's with a billionaire, an entrepreneur, someone who's poor and looking to get up. Like in my mind, like this is a sport that really kind of helps you grow. And if you come into it with that mindset, you'll get that out of it. If you come into it and saying like, kind of like 21-year-old Alex saying golf is not an athletic sport, like I'm a football player, like that's whack. Like now to me, like there's challenges in golf that there isn't that don't have the same type of challenges on the football field, right? Like obviously on the football field, there's a lot of physical, mental stuff, but like you cannot have a mental lapse in golf. And to me, like if you can learn that and apply that to anything outside of the golf course, you're winning.
So as younger self, like overcoming like obstacles, kind of like.
Well, obstacles.
I mean, because you've done that.
The circles you want to enter in.
Yeah.
It's like not necessarily obstacles, but it's like don't limit yourself to the people that you think you can gain entry to.
That's interesting.
So like you're in.
Do you think you did that early on?
Oh, absolutely.
Talk to me about that. Like how?
When you think about the dollars that it takes to like get on a golf course itself, right? Like that's intimidating in itself. Like I remember my rookie year, like I went all in on golf. Like I spent money on Pro V1s where I really shouldn't have been spending money on Pro V1s. I had brand new clubs. I tried to get a membership, didn't get a membership, you know what I mean? But ultimately in my mind, I still saw it as a society that was kind of untouchable.
Yeah.
But once you kind of get into it and you realize that everyone's on the same platform.
So you limited yourself to thinking like that's not me or like what? Like help me understand.
Yeah, exactly right. You almost kind of put yourself in a space where it's like, well, like I got way more swag than a golfer, or like that's not really my avenue. Like I'm ready to make connections at this other place, but like I think business could be done anywhere, especially when a place where everyone's guard is down.
Yeah.
This is like the optimum time to be able to connect with someone.
But okay, I want to go back to this limit. Like, okay, so you're 25, like I'm 25, and I'm like, okay, like the barriers we put on our mindset, kind of.
Right. No, and it happens daily.
And it could be dumb shit
I'm
too,
a
like
cocky
golf.
25-year-old. I made it to the NFL. I'd achieved every single goal I've ever wanted to achieve. I got a scholarship.
How did you do that? Just because, like, you're like, I'm going to freaking do this. I don't give a shit.
There's a lot that went into that, but I think ultimately, like, I was a goal-oriented person. I knew that from a very young age.
Yeah.
If I wanted something, I had to work for it, and football gave me that opportunity. But the best part about golf is that it's a new challenge. That's why all these athletes love golf. You master this one sport, and then you go into this other sport that's completely unloyal.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't support you, like, in any way, and you really have to be on point every single moment.
Golf is so cruel. Like, I watched my son.
Such a great term.
I watched my
Golf is cruel. Put that on a t-shirt.
Golf is cruel. No,
that is on a t-shirt soon.
I've watched my son in these, like, U.S. kids golf tournaments. I've literally watched this kid get crushed, and I've been crushed watching him. Like, he's like leading a tournament, hits it in the water, takes an 8 on a hole when he could have won the thing, and like to see the adversity that someone has to go. Like, literally, he's mentally, physically crushed.
Yeah, no, man.
And like, and I'm sitting here as a 39-year-old entrepreneur who's like been crushed multiple times throughout my life, and I'm secretly like. Good.
Yeah.
Like I'm honestly like I'm glad you're not going to win this tournament. I'm glad you're literally getting your ass kicked.
I like that.
You are literally getting your pee-pee kicked into your stomach, and I am glad about it because I know it's going to make you stronger. It's something so stupid as a golf tournament.
Right.
You're getting mentally crushed.
There's something about things you can't explain that bother you that like help you grow even more.
100%.
Like you can't really figure out why one swing is great and one is not.
It's insane.
And so you have to kind of work through it, internalize it, or express it, whatever, but you have to deal with it on the spot. And that's what's the great part about golf.
Okay, we're going to totally switch gears here because I want to talk to you more about business. I mean, we love golf and we can talk about golf all day.
Right.
And golf is amazing for business connections, and we're going to reiterate that for anybody out there. And I think a lot of people get that. But I want to talk to you about business. Like where is this world going? Like you and I are like at a golf course, like podcasting, like like, okay, cool. We're like podcasting like everyone.
Right.
But it's changing so much. Like you're representing some of the biggest athletes in the world's social brand, and you're helping them put marketing deals together. Like, where do you see the world going in terms of sports and social media? And like, it's changing like crazy. I know it's a loaded question, but just talk to me about the world. Like, what do you see?
I mean, truthfully, I think we all see it. I think I've heard it in a song. There's actually a former Boise State football player that's a rapper now called
Shout out
Rex
to Boise
Life.
State.
Shout out.
That's why you like Rex Life. He's a Boise State guy.
Rex Life.
You put him on the golf course. He's a Boise State guy.
I always put him on
that's a Boise State thing.
It's a Boise State guy. And one of my favorite lines that he said is, attention is today's currency. And so if you really pay attention to like those two terms, it's really what everyone's trying to like win at, right? Who has got the most attention, whether it's an influencer, a politician, a businessman, an athlete, a businessman.
Sounds just like high school.
It's like high school.
It's like a big dude, that's social media. It's like a big high school popularity contest.
It's a popularity contest, but now we have the metrics to be able to show who's the most popular person.
That's insane.
As opposed to like who was the prettiest girl and who was the prettiest dude. Now it's like, well, if we had like a vote of who the prettiest girl and the prettiest dude was, or best looking good dude was, we had the analytics for that. Now we have the analytics in front of us. And so that's what the most unique part about what is today. And so going back to your question, and the attention is today's currency, like the people that are winning today are the people that know how to keep people's attention the longest, including our former president. Like there's no one that was more polarizing than our former, like that right there lets you know, like you can get anywhere with attention. Like really.
No, 100%. And you know what, it brought up this point. I wanted to like say the point. I'm like listening, of course, like anyone's listening, but also wants to say something. Like I had a great point. Here's my great point. I actually met with the one of the people that worked at the Hype House in LA.
Oh, okay.
This freaking blew my mind, Alex. I go out to LA and I meet with one of my friends who's like kind of the manager of this Hype House. And I'm like, I'm like a dork. Like, I don't know what it is. And it's apparently a huge deal. It's like the biggest TikTokers in the world, right?
Oh, yeah.
Some have like 19 million followers. And
some are building careers from being influencers.
100%.
Yeah,
and
like
it's
the
huge.
Addison Rae chick is now like a musician. And the guy, Jake Paul, is now a freaking...
Is he a boxer?
He's a boxer, MMA guy. He's making checks.
But it's crazy because I go out there and it is kind of like the cool kids from high school a little bit, right? And they are doing cool stuff, but they're literally just using cell phones. And like, we have a bigger setup than they do. Like Joe Rogan's producing his podcast with 3 people, okay? And his subscriber rate is insane. I'm not giving a butcher the number.
A $500 million deal with Spotify or something
$500 million.
Yeah, something crazy.
But like the hype, okay, so 19, someone had like, I think one of them had like 19 million followers. I don't even remember who it was, but I was like, holy shit, you're producing a Super Bowl sized audience every day. That's freaking insane, dude. Like anytime I'm like, yeah, social media is a big deal. Like every client I get right now is like talking about social media. Like you've seen some big moments, like you've captured from some of your athletes on like a catch or this or that on social. It's like, boom, there's your relevancy like hit. So some of these TikTokers have figured out, I don't even know how, but they're like American Idol size audience every day on some weird dance they did or whatever. Like that's the new world though. Like we're not watching like talk shows that are like planned out with like corny jokes anymore. Right. We're like, no, we've evolved as humans beyond like the corny joke like late night show like TV. We want authentic, real, cool shit.
Someone that looks like me.
Yes.
Right.
You told me that too. You told me that. You're like, hey, Harkey, like the reason people follow you is like because like they envision themselves like you.
Yeah,
and you know that from your athletes. How did you understand that insight?
Because I'm a consumer. Like I came into this country as I was born in the Dominican Republic, but like right away when I came here, I started emulating different people. And so I think ultimately like it's you hear about it, the rat race, whatever, like keeping up with the Joneses, like you want to emulate the people that you look up to. Yeah. And so I think more than ever now you can actually showcase that. Like that's why, like if you really look at TikTok, and I know you're not at TikTok on TikTok, but
I know I'm not. It's so embarrassing.
If you have a brunette girl that looks anything like Addison Rae or the other girl, I don't even know her name, but they make sure that they put themselves in the angle to make sure that they look exactly like them because they know that's going to get them hits. Like there's this, it's that detailed these days. And I mean, it's just crazy to think, but again, it goes back to the people that are putting together these opportunities for us to be engaged, and they know what we want, because they also, I actually think if we're going to give them credit for something, is that they also pay attention. Like, influencers not only go above and beyond on the content, on the consistency, on going over the top on stuff, but they also pay attention. They know what the audience likes.
And they understand.
And that's what people like in your business. You guys get paid a lot of money to figure out what the consumer wants.
Correct, but it's happening faster. It's happening.
It's intuitive though.
Well, influencers are doing a better job than agencies, and they're doing a better job than media companies, because they in real time, in seconds, know what like American consumers want to see, want to feel, want to hear.
Right, and that comes from and I actually think so. There's a lot of back and forth as like how much social media you should consume. Yeah, like, and a lot of people that are content creators always say, well, I don't consume a lot. Meaning like they're not necessarily engaged with it. I actually think that their career was probably built around consuming it a lot, because they had to figure out something like that resonates. Well, it's like that resonates with it, and so I'm gonna roll with that. I'm gonna have my content be that.
The best are on like Mike Spanenberg from Say 48. Like you know, he's our boy. Like I watch him like scroll the feeds. Like he's on it. He's looking. He knows exactly what to do.
Right.
Okay, I want to talk about. I saw your shirt today, and I remember This is weird, you know. I have ADD, but I'm like thinking about shit, like a million things. Here's the deal. We were driving to Flagstaff, and Alex's Tesla is embarrassing.
Here's a fun fact: Teslas don't make it all the way to
embarrassing story. But like, okay, so anyone who has a Tesla out there, here's what you need to know: if you're going uphill, you don't have as many miles as you think on the charge. So we literally ran out of charge today, and we were 1.4 miles from the charging station, right? And so we had to get a tow 1.4 miles, but it
was the quickest tow of all time.
But so we had to like go to Sedona before we get to Flagstaff. But it was kind of cool. We like go in this bar or like this wine tasting.
Yeah, I don't know, it was awesome.
It was kind of cool. We get like this cheese board like doors.
Yeah, we got charcuterie.
I don't even know how do you say it. Charcuterie board. Whatever. I'm not sophisticated. I'm saying it, but we're sitting in Sedona. Some like retired Microsoft guy bought this big lot. We're talking to him, and he was amazing.
That was dope.
But you had your shirt. You had this tie-dye shirt, and it was and what did it say? It was said something like "into hate" or like what was this? What did the shirt say?
It was actually about.
What did the shirt say?
It was like teaching love.
Yeah, it was
like teaching love.
But it had like a double thing in the top part of it. And
it was a pink dolphin shirt.
I was like in the thing, and it like took me back, and like I like dazed into the shirt.
Yeah, it was actually more around the fact that we should like educate people on, though we don't feel like our society has a lot of issues with, you know, racism and prejudice.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it was more of a message around like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Because ultimately a lot of people kind of sweep it under the rug. And it's funny because it's just a t-shirt, but when you see it, it's funny that it resonates with you, because I bought it because I love the tie-dye. As you can see, like I love the tie-dye. But but when I saw the message, I was like, I mess with that, because truly, as someone who's not from this country, and I really have a lot of different views onto like, one, I got an amazing opportunity in this country.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, I see the people that, you know, grew up in cities like in the South that like, I'm like, man, I'll never be able to understand what their families, ancestors have been through.
100%.
But it's like, well, we should at least talk about it.
But it's so, I mean, you and I are friends, and it's hard to talk about. Like,
it is hard to talk about.
Remember when we were in Portland? Together.
Yeah, that was weird.
And it was weird.
That was when we missed the flight.
we
from Bandon Dunes.
Okay, we missed the flight, Bandon Dunes, and then we ran out of gas on Tesla.
Yeah. But no, we had to drive to Portland.
We were trying to get some fast food, remember? And it was it was like blocked off, and you were in the car together, and it was just a weird vibe.
Yeah, it was weird. We actually had it was during Portland's. They have a lot of issues as far as like it
was like a homeless
side, and so it was the narrowest Wendy's drive-through of all time. And so literally we pull in. It was the only restaurant that was still open because Portland was shut down.
It was totally shut down, and it was like a lot of like political, like
there was
drama.
a lot of stuff going on.
And you and I were in the car together, and
it looked like a scene from I Am Legend. Like legit.
Totally
like we
did.
saw like a zombie for sure.
We didn't know how to talk about it, kind of. Like, it was like a moment, but like, we were like, kind of, I don't know. Like, I was like, I don't know, like, because it was weird. Like, we felt like weirded out about the country and like where it was at and like where we were in the time. And we've never experienced that before. I've never experienced that.
I like to always be real about like my personal experience. And so I struggle to really speak on other people's stuff. I just like to have empathy. And I ask the people around me to have empathy. So if like, even though you may not live it or you think that, oh, you guys are fine, you guys are doing great, like at least have empathy on the people in that culture that are not doing great.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to kind of just thinking one way, because I mean, ultimately, like that's all we have. Like grace is one of the, like my favorite things in life, right? Like at some point in life, we're going to have to give grace to someone. And really, when it comes to that topic, like grace is very important.
I think I've learned a lot too about empathy, like especially the last probably like 7 years. And I have more to learn, you know, and we
can always learn.
And I think too, like realizing that there's bias that exists everywhere, no matter what, like you have upbringing and I think the first,
and it's, hold on. And
you
going back to your shirt, going back to the shirt aspect, that's a learned bias. Like it doesn't just come naturally.
What's a learned bias?
Like the things that we talk about, like racism, like even just thinking different about someone, that's something that's learned. We both have kids. We know that we have a direct impact on the way that our kids are, you know, treat people, you know, salute people, engage with people, all those things. And so we can't just sweep that under the rug on the side when it's a negative interaction, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a learned aspect.
It is.
Right? We don't come out and say, I don't like the way that person looks. No, that's a learned thing. And so that's why I think that shirt is so special. It's like, let's put that on the top line.
What does the shirt say? I can't remember. It said something like in racism at the bottom, but
it was like teach. It was like,
teach, learn.
I forget.
But it had the double thing. It was a really cool shirt. I don't know. But I
wish we had a producer to look at it.
I know. We'll bring it up later. But
it's late.
We're going to cut probably most of this garbage, but we had some good, hopefully, moments, maybe some good stills. Right. Thank you for watching. If you want to follow Alex at The Society, you want to give some social media handles out real quick? Tell me what you're up to.
You can follow us at The Society LLC. We're on Instagram, Twitter, The Society AG. But yeah, man, it was.
Where do I get a Hot Boys necklace? That's so dope.
Shoot, man. Hey, when you build a brand, they give you a necklace.
You built it. So I would quickly. You built a Dallas Cowboys D-line brand around Hot Boys.
Well, it was great because it was actually
this. Freaking dope.
This is a great story because ultimately, like, they were on fire, Hot Boys, and they came up with it. But you know, as smart people do, they surrounded themselves with smart people around themselves, and I was one of those smart people.
I love it.
And we were able to really capture a couple really great viral moments. The black cat that jumped.
I remember that. On the field.
On the field. And
how many impressions did that shit get?
Well, you
sold a bunch of necklaces. What'd you do?
We sold T-shirts. So after that night, I was on social media, and someone had a photo of the black cat wearing a Hot Boys necklace. I was like, that should be on a shirt.
Yeah.
And so you know, we worked rapidly and we put together an opportunity to sell them, and we ended up selling a lot of shirts. And DeMarcus blessed me.
So
with
it's like the
necklace.
Dallas Cowboys, like D-lines, Hot Boys.
Yeah. DeMarcus, led by DeMarcus, Jalen Smith, Tyrone Crawford.
That's freaking cool. Some Boise State boys in there for sure.
State boys, always.
Okay,
always.
So if you like what you heard, share this, save it, do whatever you do on podcasts or whatever. But thank you for listening, and I guess go golf.
Hey, go outside the box, man. Like, go into a new circle. Don't stay in the same circles. Don't limit yourself.
Be uncomfortable golfing with someone that you would not normally want to golf with, and see what happens.
Polo. Is that weird? What's the new sport? Not cricket.
Pickleball. Pickleball.
That's the new one, man. Check it out. That's a great way to start like interacting with new people.
Late.
You just experienced the Big Reset, Marketing and Business Edition. New episodes of our highly engaging series drop every Wednesday, while past sit-downs are available to stream or download in our archive. For more, follow your host at Scott Harkey on Instagram. And for more on OH, check out ohpartners.com.